Gary Clark Jr. covered Stevie Ray Vaughan's House is Rockin' on the CMT Awards. Willie, what are your thoughts on the performance? And what do you think about Gary Clark Jr. covering Stevie Ray Vaughan on a country awards show?
Well, I think first, let's take a look at the song. Stevie Ray Vaughan has a different, range of songs. And if we're looking at House is Rockin', that's certainly of his catalog, hews more towards the side of country. So the song selection for the show, I think, is completely cool. The bigger question is he on a country show? Pete, I'm not trying to shirk the question, but I sort of want to see what you think about this first, about Gary Clark Jr., one of the leading blues rock and roll guys. Sometimes we think of them as a dying breed, and he's turncoating and going over to country. Pete, what do you think about all this?
Well, Willie, I think we kind of think of Gary Clark Jr. as a blues rock guy. However, over his entire career, Gary Clark Jr. has played an eclectic mix of music. He's not just blues. He's not just rock. He meshes hip hop, R&B, a bunch of different styles all into one. And there have been times over Gary's career where he's caught in some flack from people, maybe like purists, who think he's going in too many different directions and whatnot. Personally, I think it's cool how versatile Gary is with his music. He really is a chameleon. He can blend in wherever you put him. Gary Clark Jr. can fit in. Now, a lot of people seeing this go, well, why is Gary playing at the CMT Awards? Okay, well, a couple things. First off, this was held in Austin, Texas, which, Gary Clark Jr.'s hometown. Okay, and obviously Stevie Ray Vaughan, not from Austin, but obviously very big in Austin, Texas.
We stole him.
Yeah, they've got a statue of him there in Austin, Texas. So I think you've got those two elements together, but it's like, okay, but Gary Clark Jr., he's not a country music artist. Well, I would say this. Gary Clark Jr., as far as blues rock goes, is one of the more mainstream type of artists. He's one of the very few artists that plays blues rock that gets mainstream attention. That's through things like this. He gets his music into movies, TV shows, he'll be on late night shows, all those sorts of things. That's a good thing. And think about this too, Willie. The people watching the CMT Awards, how many of them actually even know who Stevie Ray Vaughan is? Think about that.
Right.
Because you look at blues rock as a genre, Stevie Ray Vaughan is synonymous with blues rock, right? I mean, the king of the genre, in his heyday. Stevie Ray Vaughan passed away now over 30 years ago. There's an entire generation of people who don't even know who he is.
Right.
And so Gary Clark Jr. going and playing a Stevie Ray Vaughan song at an event like this, exposing Stevie Ray Vaughan's music and his own music to an entire generation, of people who may not be familiar with Stevie Ray Vaughan. A lot of those people might not be familiar with Gary Clark Jr.
Right.
And he's getting exposed to that audience. There's probably a good portion of that audience too. Country music, a lot of younger people like country music.
Yeah.
When you look at blues rock, there's not a ton of younger folks that are listening to this music. Getting this music out to a wider audience, both Stevie Ray Vaughan and Gary Clark Jr., is a great thing. So if someone is being, saying, well, why is Gary Clark Jr. on a country show? That's stupid. I would challenge them to think bigger picture and think about the impact that Gary Clark Jr. covering Stevie Ray Vaughan at the CMT Awards would have.
And that's just it, Pete. You flushed it out. That's exactly what it is sometimes we in the blues rock community, we love it. We know it. We live it. We breathe it. It's a tight-knit community. The artists know some of the fans, the artists, the publicists, everyone sort of knows each other. We love this stuff, but that leads a little bit to some myopic behavior. And we forget that the CMT Awards, they're huge. Country music is a far, far, far bigger genre in America these days than rock and roll. It is. And so, not to be cynical about this, because I don't think it's cynical, Gary Clark is making for himself a good business decision. If the CMT Awards ask you to go on your show, you go. You go if you're an artist, because it is a great place, like you said, to get your work out. Stevie Ray Vaughan, I don't know how many kids, like you said, know about him. Probably not many. It's hard because the purists, once again, it's a very delicate dance between selling away the core of the music, but then also not being such a Luddite to where you don't expand to keep the music alive. I think this is a good call by him and his team. I think there's going to be a lot of people, and that song is a good fit. It's a good fit for country music. That is one of those examples. The song itself, when Stevie did it, when Gary Clark Jr. did it, both of them, that is a perfect example of a good fusion between two different genres coming together to make something better, where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. I am all for it. And I would love to see rock and roll people be on rap music awards. Any music awards they can get onto, they need it, because right now, yes, we love it, but if people aren't careful, this genre could become a dying breed. So,
well, and here's the
I'm
other
all
thing,
for
Willie.
it.
There's no blues rock television awards.
No, there is not.
They have a blues music awards, which is only to be quite honest, a small fragment of what's out there within the blues rock realm. And that is not a televised event. And so if you're saying, well, we can actually get this music out to a much wider audience, but you don't want that, I mean, how is it ever going to grow?
Nope. Good question.
So what do you guys think? Let us know down in the comments section below. Did you like the performance? What do you think of Gary Clark Jr. on a country music show? We'd love to hear your thoughts.